Having established a strong understanding of the deed of trust and the distinct roles of the trustee, truster, and beneficiary under Arizona law, it is important to contrast that system with another financing instrument that shares similar purposes but follows a different legal framework: the mortgage. While Arizona predominantly uses deeds of trust for real property financing, mortgages still exist and remain valid under Arizona law. Understanding how they function and how they differ helps licensees explain financing options to clients and recognize the rights and obligations that each structure creates. A mortgage is a two-party security instrument used to pledge real property as collateral for a loan. It serves as evidence that the borrower, the mortgagor, has borrowed money from a lender, the mortgagee, and has agreed that the property will secure repayment. Unlike a deed of trust, which involves a neutral trustee holding legal title, a mortgage creates a direct relationship between the borrower and the lender, both of whom hold distinct legal and equitable interests defined by Arizona law under ARS, paragraph 33-701 through paragraph 33-730. The mortgagor, the borrower and property owner. The mortgagor is the borrower who pledges the property as security for the debt. They retain legal title to the property, but the lender obtains a lien on the property as security for the repayment of the loan. The mortgagor's duties include making timely payments, maintaining the property, paying property taxes, and keeping adequate insurance. If the borrower defaults, the lender has the right to initiate a judicial foreclosure, which is a court-supervised process for recovering the debt through the sale of the property. For example, if a homeowner in Tucson takes out a loan using a traditional mortgage, they remain the property's legal owner. However, the lender holds a lien that gives them the right to foreclose if the borrower fails to meet their repayment obligations. Unlike the deed of trust process, foreclosure of a mortgage in Arizona must occur through the courts, ensuring judicial oversight, but often taking more time and incurring greater expense. The mortgagee, the lender or creditor. The mortgagee is the lender or creditor who provides the funds for the property purchase and receives a lien on the property as collateral for the loan. The mortgagee's rights are limited to enforcing repayment through the terms of the mortgage agreement and, if necessary, by seeking a judicial foreclosure under ARS, paragraph 33-7-21. This process allows the mortgagee to request that the court order the sale of the property to satisfy the debt. Once the property is sold, the mortgagee receives proceeds up to the amount owed, and any remaining funds are distributed to junior lien holders, or the borrower. The mortgagee does not hold legal title to the property. Rather, their interest is secured by the lien. This distinction is a fundamental difference between a mortgage and a deed of trust. In the mortgage structure, the borrower keeps ownership, but the lender's lien serves as a financial safeguard, ensuring that the loan is repaid. Key differences between a mortgage and a deed of trust. While both instruments serve the same purpose, securing repayment of a loan with real property, they differ significantly in structure and process. A mortgage involves two parties, mortgagor and mortgagee, and requires judicial foreclosure if the borrower defaults. A deed of trust involves three parties, truster, trustee, and beneficiary, and allows for non-judicial foreclosure, which is faster and less expensive. In a mortgage, because there is no trustee, the court must oversee the foreclosure sale. This can take several months or even years, depending on the complexity of the case. In contrast, under a deed of trust, the trustee can initiate a foreclosure after providing the statutory notice period under ARS paragraph 33-807, typically around 90 days. Arizona allows both systems, but deeds of trust are far more common because of their efficiency. However, certain transactions, such as those involving seller financing or older loans, may still rely on mortgages. For instance, if a seller carries a note for the buyer and uses a mortgage to secure repayment, any foreclosure action must go through the judicial process. Example of a mortgage transaction. Consider a buyer in Mesa who purchases a small commercial building using private financing. The lender records a mortgage lien against the property to secure the loan. The buyer retains title and use of the building, operating their business as usual. If the borrower later defaults, the lender must file a lawsuit to foreclose, obtain a judgment from the court, and proceed with a sheriff's sale of the property. Once the loan is repaid or the court orders satisfaction, the lender records a release of mortgage under ARS Mortgagor 33707, which clears the lien from the property's title. Judicial oversight and borrower protections. The judicial foreclosure process provides several borrower protections. Before foreclosure can occur, the mortgagee must demonstrate that the borrower is in default and that all contractual and statutory notice requirements have been satisfied. The borrower also retains the right of redemption, meaning they can reclaim the property by paying off the full debt, including court costs and attorney fees, within a specific period after the sale, typically 6 months. Depending on the property type and judgment terms under ARS Mortgagor 12/2582. This redemption right, combined with judicial supervision, offers a safeguard against wrongful foreclosure and ensures due process under both Arizona law and the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which guarantees that property cannot be taken without proper legal procedure. Case law and application. Arizona courts have upheld the validity and enforcement of mortgages within the statutory framework. In mid-Kansas, Federal Savings and Loan Association (EFI) Dynamic Development Corp. DARS 1987, the Arizona Supreme Court reaffirmed the mortgagee's right to judicial foreclosure when a borrower defaults, while also recognizing the borrower's right of redemption as an essential equitable protection. The court emphasized that foreclosure is a legal remedy designed to balance the lender's right to recover its investment with the borrower's right to fair treatment under due process. Similarly, in Valley National Bank of Arizona versus Cole Hayes, 1979, the court confirmed that a mortgage lien remains enforceable until formally released or satisfied, reinforcing the importance of accurate recordation and compliance with statutory requirements under ARS Mortgagor 33707. Discussion. What is the primary distinction between a mortgage and a deed of trust? Answer. A mortgage involves two parties, borrower and lender, and requires judicial foreclosure, while a deed of trust involves three parties and allows non-judicial foreclosure. Who holds legal title to the property under a mortgage? Answer. The mortgagor, borrower, retains legal title, while the mortgagee holds a lien securing repayment of the loan. What legal right allows a borrower to reclaim their property after foreclosure? Answer. The borrower's right of redemption, which allows repayment of the full debt within a statutory period following the foreclosure sale. Review summary. A mortgage is a two-party security instrument in which the mortgagor, borrower, pledges property as collateral for repayment of a debt owed to the mortgagee, lender. Governed by ARS Mortgagor 33701 through Mortgagor 33730. Mortgages differ from deeds of trust primarily in structure and foreclosure procedure. While the borrower retains legal title, the lender's lien ensures repayment. If the borrower defaults, foreclosure must proceed through the courts, allowing judicial oversight and preserving the borrower's right of redemption. Arizona case law, such as Mid-Kansas Federal Savings and Loan Association versus Dynamic Development Corp. and Valley National Bank versus Cole Hayes, reinforces the balance between lender security and borrower protection. Although less common than deeds of trust, mortgages remain an important financing tool, especially in private or seller finance transactions, where judicial foreclosure and equitable redemption play key roles in safeguarding property rights.